When my buddy Ron called me and he told me that he had a project that belonged to our mutual friend Killer Mike, well, he knew I wouldn't say no. What I didn't realize though was that the project entailed rebuilding an entire car so that he could drive it to the Grammys in 3 weeks' time. This is the project. It's a 1987 Buick Grand National. Will it get done? Honestly, I have no idea, but let me introduce you to the team of guys that's gonna try to make it happen.
I'm Ron Baugh, and I'm an aftermarket industry veteran. I've been friends with Mike Render for almost 10 years now, and we actually bonded over a mutual love of muscle cars, especially the Grand National. He even mentioned the Grand National in his first album, and the lyric went something like, "I'm Grand National, built, beautiful, and regal." And that's something that stuck with me and that I heard, and I knew I have to be friends with this guy. You know, we're from the same town, we're from the same neighborhood. I actually acquired this car at the Pomona Swap Meet 5 years ago. When I found out that Mike was nominated for 3 Grammys, I said, this project has to debut. We have to build this car for Mike to arrive to the Grammys in his dream car. With such a short deadline, obviously I had to bring in some heavy hitters in order to get this project done and over the finish line. Of course, I called upon my buddy Mike at Hemmings, and I needed a super talented fabricator, somebody that I could depend on, and that is my buddy Suppy.
This project, Ron and I have been talking back and forth for years now, and it's finally come time to build it. So we're gonna ditch the old turbo V6 for a supercharged V8, but that's not it. We also are doing suspension, brakes, so it's got a handle, it's got a drive, it's gonna have AC, it's gonna have power steering, and all of this in 3 weeks.
Mike, what's up, bro?
How you doing?
Man, Mike, Ron, what's up? 2 of my favorite human beings on earth, man.
No, dude, I gotta ask you. So, I mean, everybody knows like you are a die-hard, dyed-in-the-wool car guy. You gotta just tell me why the National, dude. Like, we know why, we love it, but why, you know.
So I'm a lover of all things muscle. Like, I love muscle cars, and I own a few of them, but you know, you come into your era. So for my dad in the 70s, it was the Camaros. But man, I saw the Buick Grand National just kicking butt of Vets and Porsches, and I just got intrigued by this Buick. And when I read about the Grand National T-Types and later the GNX, it was it. This is my favorite, absolute favorite muscle car.
Dude, so Ron, do you want to walk Mike through kind of a little bit about what we're doing and just kind of get his view on it? Because he hasn't seen anything yet.
No, and I mean, you know, we're still getting in parts, so this is still very much a work in progress, but the plan is basically full suspension for that Pro Touring stance that you love. Of course, I'm gonna whip up some wheels that I think you'll love as well, but the real meat and potatoes of this build is gonna be the engine and trans. So we're gonna do a 6.2 liter supercharged LT4, which is basically like a C7 Z06 motor. We're talking like 650 plus horsepower. Yes.
It's gonna be nice and subtle.
4L80E transmission, you know, it's electronically controlled, you know, put the power down, and you know, it's gonna handle, it's gonna put the power down, but when you wanna light the tires up, you will be able to do so at will.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like when Jesus told his homies we're gonna walk on water. This is, first of all, this is a miracle that only you could call. Only you could say, hey man, we got about 3-4 weeks. We're gonna build a Pro Touring style Grand National for you. Only Musto could say, yeah, and I'm gonna put it on my show. And you already know it, but I love you guys, and I'm super excited.
I think all of us are just so jazzed about this, because it's one thing when you do it for other people. When you do it for your friends, it's the best. Man. It's like, I feel like each one of us is like a quarter Santa Claus, totally. And that right before the Grammys, we're just gonna give you this new sleigh that you're gonna be able to go in and just show up and crush everybody with. It's so cool.
Like I said, we would not have even attempted this for anybody else, but you know, we got to make sure you show up not just in style, but with some speed behind you.
Yeah.
I got one request. When at the end of the bill, could we get a writer's marker, a proper graffiti writer's marker, and have Suppy and his team sign the trunk on the inside?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. I want it, because this car is never getting sold. I'm a dire old man. I may request they bury me in this thing, man. And I love you guys, and I'm looking forward to hanging, man.
All right, buddy.
Appreciate you, bro.
Talk to you soon.
See you soon.
Love.
Later,
for
buddy.
Sure.
All right, so now that you've met the guys, we're gonna go through a little bit about what we know about this car. Now, Ron, what was your last experience with this thing? Because I know it wasn't brilliant.
Well, this thing has basically sat in hibernation for 4 or 5 years now, but the last time I was behind the wheel of this thing, when we brought it out, it was for a little drag race, and after 3 runs, it was a little bit tired.
So does it run now?
Sort of.
Well, it either runs or it doesn't run.
I mean, we could start it, you can hear it for yourself.
All right, pop the hood.
All right, let's do it. So it's still pretty much all there.
Dude, that's tired. That is tired. Okay, we'll start it. See what happens, man.
All right.
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah, I've heard enough.
Oh, that's so bad.
I think it's time to get it out. Let's put the new one in.
All right, let's start this thing.
First step in tearing down this car, we're gonna pull out the rear end because we wanna get it sent out, rebuild it. They're gonna beef it up for us, do some upgrades. I'm a big sucker for safety, so we're gonna take these straps and we're gonna strap the car itself to the lift so that when we pull this rear end, it's not gonna wanna tip forward.
I got it.
Thank God I'm so strong and handsome. Angela and I took all the nuts off the bolts for the rear end. We took the brake lines out. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna put the wheels back on, take the springs out, and roll the rear end out of the back of the car.
You're out. Okay, all right, go up.
I'm gonna
So the rear end's out. There was a little bit of a fight with some rusty bolts, but it's out. So at this point, we're gonna cut the exhaust out, get all the control arms, well, all the arms out, right? All the suspension out, drop the gas tank, clean this all up, get it freshly painted, and wait for some new parts to put back in. There it is. That's not that bad.
We're wasting no time getting this thing ripped apart, huh?
What's up, guys?
All right, so what are we looking at? Anything terrifying, or is it halfway decent?
Well, it's halfway decent. The bolts all came out of the rear end, nothing snapped, which is a good thing, right?
Okay.
We didn't have to torch anything, so that was fun.
Okay.
So this isn't a complete rust bucket that I...
It is not no. It's actually in pretty good shape.
Okay.
But the floors have been changed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So at one point in time, someone changed this floor.
What are the telltale signs of that? Because, I mean, I had no idea. I didn't have the car on a lift at the swap meet when I found it, but it looked pretty clean and solid, so how do we know that?
The first thing we noticed was there's a bunch of sealant that's around the perimeter here. And
That's not factory?
That's not factory, no. And then we started seeing like the marks where they had had some screws in before they welded it in place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any evidence of the car ever being hit or anything like that?
No, the car.
That's good.
The car doesn't look like it's been like in a major accident. Everything is straight. It's a good, solid car to start on.
Okay.
Well, hell, I'll leave you to it because I got to go catch a flight back to San Francisco.
You're not going to stick around and help turn wrenches?
No. Okay. No, everybody knows I'm not a mechanic. You know I'll break everything.
Well, neither am I, but I'm here for you, Suppy.
This might be a good thing.
Yeah, this is a good thing because I'd grab one wrench and be like, could you please get muscle out of here?
Well, Suppy, we've got this thing mostly torn apart, at least half. We've got the rear end out, the exhaust, most of the rear suspension. Well, we know what the mission is, what Mike's expecting out of this thing, so what's next?
Okay, so I think what's gonna happen next is we're gonna move our way forward. We're gonna take the engine and transmission out and then start tearing apart the front suspension.
Okay.
And then mock up the coolant system and maybe a little bit of plumbing.